the black mother who raised her son alone. Until one DNA test changed everything, asterisk, asterisk. The night was quiet, but inside a small, dimly lit apartment on the east side of the city, Merica Johnson stood over a tiny crib, whispering a silent promise to the baby sleeping inside it. "Don't worry, Elijah. Mama's here. Mama will always be here." Her voice trembled just a little. Being strong had become her habit, not by choice, but by survival. She was only 22 when Elijah's father, Marcus, disappeared from their lives without a word. One day, he said he would be back after work, and he never came home. No message, no explanation, nothing. People whispered, family blamed, neighbors judged, but Merica stayed focused on one thing, her son. Life tested her harder than she imagined. She worked mornings at a diner, evenings at a nursing home, and late-night cleaning shifts on weekends. Sleep came in short fragments, peace almost never, but every time Elijah smiled, she felt her purpose again. Years passed. Elijah grew into a bright, gentle, curious child, the kind who asked questions nobody could answer. "Mama, where's my daddy? Mama, what was he like? Mama, did he love me?" Merica's heart would tighten every time. She never lied, but she couldn't tell the truth either because she didn't know it. All she could say was, "He would have loved you. You're easy to love." And Elijah would hug her tightly, like he believed her more than she believed herself. But deep inside him, a quiet emptiness grew, the kind a child doesn't understand but a mother can feel. By the time he turned 18, Elijah had become everything Merica dreamed of: disciplined, smart, kind, and deeply respectful. A boy who knew the value of hard work because he saw his mother fight for him every day. But one evening, everything began to shift. Elijah came home holding a colorful little kit in his hand, a DNA ancestry test he bought because his friends at school dared him to try it. "It's just for fun, Mama," he said with a grin, placing the box on the table. "You know, to see where I come from." Merica froze for a moment. Her smile didn't reach her eyes, not because she feared the history, but because she feared the truth. Still, she didn't stop him. She couldn't cage a heart that wanted answers. Weeks passed. Life continued. Merica did double shifts. Elijah filled out college forms. Everything seemed normal until the night the results arrived in his email. Elijah was in his room, scrolling through the report excitedly, shouting random percentages. "Mom, we're like 40% West African, 30% Caribbean. Look at this. This is so cool." But then there was a sudden, sharp silence. Merica was washing dishes when she heard the pause, a stillness so heavy that even the air felt different. "Mom," his voice was low now, "can you come here?" Her hands went cold. She wiped them nervously and walked toward his room. Elijah was sitting on the edge of his bed, staring at the screen, stunned. "Mom," he whispered, "it says, I have a parental match." Merica's heart stopped. A name appeared on the screen, a name she hadn't heard in 18 long years. Marcus Hale, a name she once trusted, a name she prayed Elijah would never have to see again. But that wasn't the part that made her knees go weak. Below his name, the profile described him as public figure, entrepreneur, multimillionaire, founder of Hale Enterprises. Merica grabbed the edge of the bed to keep herself steady. Her ex, the man who vanished, was alive, wealthy, powerful, and apparently had been out there the entire time. Elijah stared at her with disbelief, hurt, confusion. "Mama, you told me he left us. Why didn't you tell me he was someone important? Why didn't you tell me he was alive?" "What?" "I didn't know, baby," she whispered. "I swear to you, I didn't know." But he didn't believe her. How could he? A lifetime of unanswered questions had finally erupted. Elijah stood up, pacing, hands shaking. "All these years, I thought maybe I wasn't good enough for him. Maybe he didn't want me. But he's out there living rich, living happy," his voice cracked. "And he never tried to find me." Merica couldn't breathe. She reached out to him. "Elijah, please." But he stepped back. "Mama, did he ever try to talk to you? Did he ever write? Call? Anything? Just tell me the truth." Her silence was enough. Elijah stared at her like he didn't recognize her anymore. "You had something for me. I protected you," she whispered, tears running down her face. "From what?" he snapped. "From my own father?" Marika's chest tightened, because he didn't know that she wasn't hiding a father. She was hiding a truth. A truth with teeth, a truth with scars, a truth she hoped Elijah would never have to face. A truth about why Marcus disappeared, a truth about the last night she ever saw him, a truth about a danger that nearly destroyed her. And now, the past was back, alive, rich, searchable, one click away. The story that had been buried for 18 years was about to rise again. And this time, nothing could stop it. Elijah wiped his tears, grabbed his shoes, and said the words that shattered her. "I'm going to find him." Marika's legs almost gave out. "Elijah, please. Listen to me. It's not what you think. You don't know everything." He cut her off. "No, Mama. You didn't tell me everything." And he walked out the door. Marika sank to the floor, trembling, because she knew something Elijah did not. Marcus didn't leave them. He was forced away. The front door slammed shut behind Elijah, and for a moment, Marika forgot how to breathe. The apartment seemed too quiet, too cold. The chair Elijah pushed aside was still rocking, a painful reminder that her baby, her entire world, had just walked out searching for a truth she prayed he'd never know. She dragged herself to the couch, pressing her palms over her face. Her shoulders shook as tears slipped through her fingers. Not because her son was angry, but because he was walking straight toward a man who didn't know the full story, to a man who might destroy him without meaning to. But Elijah was too young to understand what she had survived. And now the past was knocking again. Elijah, meanwhile, walked through the city night with a storm boiling inside him. He had been raised with love, deep, unconditional, fierce love, but questions had always lingered like shadows at the edges of his heart. Why did his father leave? Why didn't he want him? Why didn't he come back? Why was his mother always so tense when his name came up? But now, the DNA test had given him a new, sharper kind of pain. Marcus wasn't dead, that he wasn't suffering, that he wasn't searching, that he was thriving. Public, wealthy, easy to find. And Elijah. He was the forgotten chapter in a book that should have included him. He wiped his eyes angrily. He didn't want to cry. Not now. Why didn't he want us? The question felt like a knife twisting in his chest. He found a bus route on his phone that led straight toward the business district, where Hale Enterprises had its headquarters. He didn't know what he would do when he arrived. He just knew he had to see the man. The truth had to come from somewhere. But before he even made it to the bus stop, something unexpected happened. His phone buzzed. Unknown number. He ignored it. Then it buzzed again. Unknown number. Normally he wouldn't answer. But something inside him, restless, scared, hopeful maybe, pressed the green button. "Hello." A deep, familiar voice responded, point one he had never heard, yet somehow recognized. Elijah. His heart stopped. How do you know my name?" he whispered. There was a pause, a breath, a tremble. "This is Marcus, your father." Elijah froze in the middle of the sidewalk. Traffic roared. People walked past, but he heard nothing except that one name. His father, calling him. After 18 years. Back in the apartment, Marika forced herself to stand. Panic clawed at her as she grabbed her phone and dialed Elijah, but it went straight to voicemail. "Baby, please come home," she whispered. "There are things you don't know, things I should have told you. Just come back to me." She hung up, dialed again, nothing. Then, trembling, she opened an old wooden box hidden deep in her closet. Inside it lay memories she wanted erased. Documents, letters, warnings, and a small folded photograph of a younger Marika and Marcus. Smiling, innocent, before everything fell apart. As she held the picture, her mind pulled her back to a night she wished she could forget. 18 years earlier, Marika remembered Marcus running into their apartment, breathless, eyes wide with terror. "They know," he whispered. "We have to leave." "Who knows?" "Marcus, what are you talking about?" But he shook his head violently. "I can't say. I can't tell you. It's safer if you don't know." "Safer for who?" "For you. For the baby." She grabbed his hands, but they were trembling. "I'm not going anywhere until you tell me the truth." But before he could speak, the sound of tires screeching outside filled the air. Flashlights. Footsteps. Heavy knocks on the door. Marcus Hale. Open up. Marcus looked at her with a heartbreak she never forgot. I'm sorry, Merica. I'm so sorry. He touched her belly, her 8-month belly, and whispered, if anything happens to me, tell him I loved him. Before she could stop him, law enforcement stormed the apartment. But it wasn't just any law enforcement. These men wore no badges, no names, no explanations. They dragged Marcus out while he shouted her name, begging them not to touch her. Then a man in a gray coat told her something she never forgot. You don't know him. You don't want to know him. Forget him, for your child's sake. And they disappeared into the night. She never saw Marcus again. No calls, no letters, nothing, except one envelope that arrived weeks later, torn, stamped, and signed. Inside was a short message. I'm alive. Don't look for me. Protect our son. And she did. She protected Elijah with everything she had, even if it meant he'd hate her one day, even if it meant raising him alone. And now, that night was coming back. Everything she buried was rising. She grabbed her coat and ran out the door. She had to find Elijah before the truth did. Meanwhile, Elijah stood frozen on the sidewalk, phone to his ear, breathing hard. Why are you calling me? He whispered, voice trembling between anger and disbelief. On the other end, Marcus exhaled shakily. Because the test, it notified me. When a close match pops up, I get an alert. I've been hoping for this day for years. Elijah swallowed hard. Why didn't you find me sooner? The silence that followed felt endless. Finally, Marcus spoke, voice breaking. Because I wasn't allowed to. Elijah frowned. What does that mean? You don't know the whole story, son. The word son hit like a hammer. Then Marcus continued, voice shaking. I didn't leave you. I didn't leave your mother. I was taken from both of you. Elijah blinked. What do you mean taken? But before Marcus could explain, Elijah heard commotion, loud voices, a door opening, someone calling Marcus's name. Then the line went dead. Hello, hello. The call had ended. Elijah stood frozen, chest heaving, heart thundering. His father was alive. His father called him. And his father was in trouble. The truth wasn't simple, that IT wasn't just abandonment, that IT was something darker, something hidden, something no one wanted to speak about. And now Elijah had a new question. Who took his father away? And why were they trying to stop him again? The moment the call ended, Elijah felt as if the ground beneath him had shifted. He stood in the glow of a streetlight, breath fogging in the cold night air, heart pounding like a warning drum. His father had called him. His father said he didn't leave by choice. His father was in danger, even now. And then, the line went dead. Elijah stared at his phone, gripping it so tightly that his knuckles turned white. The questions swirling in his mind were louder than the city noise around him. Who took him? Why didn't he come back? What secret was his mother too afraid to tell? Why did his father sound terrified even after 18 years? His anger had begun to crack, replaced now by fear. Fear of what he didn't know, fear of what he might discover, and fear that he might already be too late. He didn't want to admit it, but a small voice inside him whispered, what if he loses his father again before ever meeting him? And that thought pushed him forward. At the same time, Merica was running down the street, breathless and desperate. Her tears streaked through the cold air as she searched for taxis, buses, anything, but her mind was racing faster than her feet. Elijah, please be safe, she whispered, clutching her coat. Her heart ached with the weight of 18 years of silence. She had never been a liar, not by nature. She only hid the truth because she was told that truth could kill them. Marcus had warned her. The men in the gray coats had warned her. And deep in her soul, she always believed Marcus would return when it was safe. But it never became safe. And now her son was chasing a truth she once promised to protect him from. She stopped outside the old community library, the only place she knew had public records, news archives, and the answers Elijah might search for. If he was looking for information on Marcus Hale, he would come here. She pushed the door open and hurried inside. Meanwhile, Elijah had boarded the bus toward downtown. He sat near the window, staring out with a distant expression. His reflection looked different, older, weighed down, uncertain. But something inside him sparked determination, courage out of hunger for answers. He opened his phone again and searched. Marcus Hale disappearance 18 years ago. Enter. He expected nothing. Maybe a rumor. Maybe a business article. But instead, a headline popped up that made his stomach drop. Local entrepreneur Marcus Hale arrested in connection with federal investigation. Another headline followed. Charges dropped due to lack of evidence. Hale released after 48 hours. Then the part that shook him. Authorities declined to comment. Case sealed indefinitely. Sealed indefinitely. Hidden from public eyes. Why? He clicked an old local news video. A reporter spoke with forced neutrality. Marcus Hale claims he was wrongfully detained. Officials refused to disclose details. Sources say he was questioned about a corporate whistleblower case, but nothing has been confirmed. Whistleblower? Corporate corruption? Threats? Sealed files. Elijah's heartbeat quickened. Was his father running from people, hiding from danger, forced to leave his family behind to keep them safe? The pieces weren't fitting, not yet, but they were forming a shape that terrified him. He scrolled further and froze again. A small article titled, "Girlfriend of Hale Claims Harassment from Unknown Agents." The woman interviewed was young, devastated, pregnant. The date was 18 years ago. The woman was his mother. Elijah's throat tightened. The article quoted her. "They took him. They threatened us. They said if we looked for him, it would be dangerous. I'm just trying to protect my baby." He closed the screen, tears blurring his vision. His mother had tried to speak, but no one believed her. Her statement was dismissed as emotional distress. Elijah leaned back in his seat, pressing a hand over his face. "Oh my God, Mama, you weren't lying." His voice cracked. Everything he thought he knew was wrong. His mother didn't hide his father from him. She was protecting him from something darker. And whatever forced Marcus to disappear was still out there. The bus reached downtown. Elijah stepped off, walking toward the towering headquarters of Hale Enterprises, a tall, glass building reflecting the city lights like a monument of success. But standing at the entrance were two men in dark suits. They weren't employees. Their posture was too rigid. Their eyes watched everything. Their presence was wrong. Elijah felt it instantly. A chill crawled up his spine. These men looked like the same kind of men who dragged his father away 18 years ago. The same kind who warned his mother to disappear. Were they still watching Marcus? Still following him? Still controlling him? Before Elijah could process anything, one of the men spoke into a radio. "He's here." Elijah froze. Who were they talking about? Him? Marcus? Someone else? He took a step back, then another. Before he could turn away, a voice behind him whispered urgently, "Elijah, don't move." He spun around. It was his father. Marcus Hale stood there, older, tired, eyes full of warning and love. For a moment, Elijah forgot how to breathe. His chest tightened, his vision blurred. For 18 years, he wondered what this man looked like. For 18 years, he imagined this moment. And now it was here. "Dad." The word escaped him like a prayer. Marcus stepped closer, gently grabbing his shoulders. "I'm sorry it had to be like this," he whispered. "I never wanted you to find me this way. I never wanted you mixed in with this." Elijah shook his head, tears falling. "You didn't leave us, did you?" Marcus swallowed hard. "No, I was taken away." "By who?" Marcus looked over Elijah's shoulder at the two men in suits approaching them. "Elijah, there isn't much time." "Time for what?" Marcus tightened his grip, voice trembling. "To tell you the truth." Elijah's heart was racing. Sirens screamed in the distance. People hurried past them obliviously. The men in suits were only steps away now. Marcus leaned close and whispered into Elijah's ear. "It wasn't a crime. It was a cover-up." Elijah whispered breathlessly. "A cover-up for what?" Marcus answered with a voice shaken by years of silence. "For trying to protect the world from the people who thought they owned it." And then the men reached them. "Marcus Hale," one said coldly, "you need to come with us." Elijah stepped in front of Marcus instinctively. "No, I'm not letting you take him again." Marcus pulled Elijah behind him. "Elijah, listen to me." But before he could finish, someone shouted from across the street, "Elijah!" He turned. His mother was running toward them, her eyes wide, her face pale, her voice breaking. Everything was about to collide. The past, the truth, the danger, and the family that had been torn apart for nearly 2 decades. And in the next moment, everything exploded. The next morning arrived with a strange mix of calm and storm. The sun shone brightly, yet inside the Thompson house, the air was heavy. Marie sat silently at the dining table, her shaking fingers wrapped around a cup of coffee that had long gone cold. Jacob sat across from her, looking like he hadn't slept at all. Tyler hovered near the stairs, unsure whether he should speak or stay quiet. And Aurora, she stood near the window, staring out at the world with eyes that looked older than yesterday. Everything had changed. One truth had reset their entire lives. Jacob finally broke the silence. "Aurora, I don't even know where to begin. How do I ask you to forgive me when I don't deserve it?" Aurora didn't turn around. "You don't have to ask for forgiveness right now. I'm still trying to understand why you stayed quiet all those years." Jacob swallowed hard. "I thought I was protecting my family," he confessed. "But now I see. I failed everyone." Marie reached out and held Jacob's hand. "And I pushed you into silence because I was afraid of losing the family we built." Aurora turned slowly. Her voice was calm but heavy. "I'm not here to destroy your family. I never was. But I needed to know the truth. I needed to understand why I grew up without a father who wanted me." Tyler stepped forward, his voice cracking. "So, does that mean you're leaving?" Aurora looked at him, the boy who had accepted her without hesitation, the brother who believed in her even before the truth came out. "No, Tyler, I'm not leaving. At least not today." Marie let out a small breath of relief, but Aurora raised a hand gently. "But things won't go back to how they were in one night. Trust takes time, and right now, mine is wounded." Jacob wiped his eyes. "If you give me even a small chance, I'll spend the rest of my life proving you are my daughter in every way." Aurora didn't reply. She walked past them and stepped outside into the backyard where the old oak tree stood tall, its branches stretching like open arms. She stood beneath it, remembering the previous evening, remembering how everything shattered and reformed all at once. Jacob followed her slowly. He didn't come too close, afraid he might push too hard. "When you came into our home," he said softly, "I didn't know who you were to me, but something inside me recognized you." Aurora listened silently. "When you laughed with Tyler, when you helped Marie in the kitchen, when you argued with me, like someone who knew my heart, something kept saying, she belongs here. And now, I know why." Aurora closed her eyes. "I spent my whole childhood asking if anyone wanted me, if the man whose blood I carried even remembered my existence." Jacob's face twisted in pain. "Aurora, I swear on everything I love, I didn't know. I never knew about you." She turned around at last. "You're not lying now. I can see that. But it doesn't erase the years I spent wondering why I wasn't enough." Jacob fell to his knees unexpectedly. "I can't change the past," he whispered, voice breaking. "But I can give you every moment of the future." Aurora's breath caught in her throat. She rushed forward instinctively, kneeling down too, placing her hands on his shoulders. "Don't do that," she said softly. "Please, I didn't come here for apologies on your knees." Jacob looked up at her, tears streaming freely. "Then what did you come for?" Aurora exhaled slowly. "For peace, for closure, for maybe a chance to belong somewhere." Jacob reached up and gently touched her face, like a father seeing his child for the first time. "Then stay," he whispered. "Not because you have to, but because you always had a place here, even when we didn't know it." Marie approached from behind, standing quietly, her hands trembling. "Aurora," she said softly, "I know I wasn't kind to you at first. I judged you without knowing your heart. And now I stand here, trying to understand how to welcome you into a family that should have been yours long ago." Her voice cracked. "But if you give me a chance, I want to try. I want to learn about you. I want to know what makes you laugh, what hurts you, what you love, all the things a mother should have known." Aurora's eyes shimmered. "You're not my mother," she said gently. That Marie's face fell, but Aurora continued. But you could become something important to me. Maybe not today. Maybe not next week. But someday. Marie nodded, tears of relief falling. Tyler ran forward and wrapped his arms around Aurora tightly. You can share my room if you want, he said with complete innocence. Or I can sleep on the couch. Or anywhere. I just don't want you to go. Aurora laughed through her tears. I'm not going anywhere today, little brother. The word brother made Tyler freeze. Then he beamed so brightly the entire yard felt warmer. That night, the house was different. Not perfect, not magically healed, but honest, real, open. Aurora sat with Jacob in the living room. Marie brought tea. Tyler played on the floor, occasionally interrupting with random questions about siblings, families, and whether Aurora liked video games. The walls that once separated them had begun to crumble. Later that evening, Jacob pulled out a small box. I didn't know I'd ever give this to someone, he said quietly. Inside was a delicate silver bracelet with a simple charm, a tiny heart engraved with an A. Aurora blinked in surprise. What is this? I bought it when Tyler was born, Jacob explained. I thought I'd give it to a daughter someday, if we ever had one. He held out to her. And now, I like you to have it. Aurora's breath trembled. She held the bracelet like it was a piece of her life that had finally come home. Thank you, she whispered, for everything you're trying to do. Jacob smiled softly. This is only the beginning. Marie stepped closer, and we want you to stay with us, at least until you feel ready to decide what you want. Aurora nodded slowly. Okay, I'll stay. The room filled with quiet relief. For the first time, Aurora felt something she had chased all her life. Not perfection, not wealth, not a storybook family. A beginning, a possibility, a place where healing could finally happen. She looked around the room, at Jacob's hopeful eyes, Marie's softened expression, Tyler's excited grin. And for the first time, she felt the warmth of belonging. The kind of warmth that comes not from blood, but from choice, from truth, from a family rebuilding itself, piece by fragile piece. And as Aurora leaned back, closing her eyes, she whispered a small promise to herself. This time, I won't run. Because finally, she wasn't alone.